However, we didn't get there overnight, right? It was building little baby steps forward. And what we have very often when we move a step forward, sometimes, it's difficult and it goes wrong. And what people tend to do, okay, we're going to work agile. Not much of a believer here, but okay, the boss tells me to be agile, so I'll be agile. And then 1, 2, went wrong. See, didn't work, and they step back into their old routines, right? Step number 1 is, I said it yesterday, at the end of the day, agile as a company, as an organization, is something that you need to be future-proof. If you are not agile, which means not being able to respond to market demand swift, you will lose because your competition will. So it's not about are we going to change to agile or not, it's about when. And we heard yesterday stories about intelligence agencies that go into agile. We have the largest bank, they go agile, not just in their IT, but as an organization going agile, full agile. Okay. What I would like to share, and okay, some of you expressed in public what you're looking for in this hour. I hope most of you have written down their objective, even if you don't have one. I can do my best to talk, but I want you to manage your own learning. So ask questions, okay? Because I can talk from my perspective, but you can ask questions from yours. Don't be shy. Also, when you're a student, don't be shy. You're the future, right? Don't forget this. I'm old. Way over 51. Okay, a little. Okay, what I would like to show you is a model that we use. And there are some things in there that I'm not able to handle all the details, that require a couple of days of training, but I would like to give you an overview of what we do. In transformation, there's an approach, and maybe there are other, most likely there are other organizations having a different approach. Fine, cool. This is the way we do it, this is the way it works for us. And we've done it at a number of organizations like airline companies and tire companies and insurance companies, banking organizations, retail organizations. So we've been in a lot of places. On top of this, I'm very happy to see guys from the police force here. I did my first agile, we didn't call it agile then, in 1994 with the Royal Navy in the Netherlands. And then people would say to me, self-organizing in the Navy. I think that most likely the military forces and the healthcare are the two places where the basis for agile are there. Because you are very well trained, and as a team you have to achieve an objective. You're very empowered. You walk on the streets with a gun on your hip, that means empowerment. My brother was a police officer. He was 18 years old walking with a gun on the street. So are you empowered or what, right? The one thing that I know, and this is no joke, I have to laugh every time I tell it. It went like this. We were in the first project, and next to me was sitting, he was the captain of a big boat. So it means one of the highest ranks in the Royal Navy. And next to him was a guy who was just working on the boat, one of the lowest ranks, or maybe the lowest rank in the Navy. And the big guy said, okay, now you're empowered. And the guy said, yes, sir. And it was done. And he was about. Then you have to role model. So we got into the process of handling requirements, and this is the strength from the captain. Let's call him the captain. Strength from the captain to role model the empowerment, but also the strength from the other guy to take the empowerment, because empowerment is something that you give, and people have to take. And when people are not used to do this, it takes time. And it's great, because I'm an external consultant, and it means I will be in your organization for a very long time. So I get my bonus and my lease car and... No. Okay, guys, this is about transformations. What I say, first of all, when you transform, it's a process. It's a project or a program, whatever you call it, but it's a process that has a beginning and an end, right? And with my client, I am looking for, okay, client, why do you want to be agile? If we go back to yesterday, I said in my talk, you do agile, everything that you do for a reason. Maybe you want a shorter time to market. Maybe you want to have better quality of your products. Maybe you want to have less incidents. Maybe whatever, but you're looking for something that you're focusing on, right? And what you have is you have your ambition. You work from, okay, here I am now, and then you have your ambition, and you go to the result. In any kind of work, also in a transformation. Right? And then, to support that transformation, we need governance. I need to talk and agree with my client on how are we going to work together as a team in this transformation. This is not difficult stuff. This is not Word documents. For those of you who were there at the end of the day yesterday, I'm not so fond of Word documents. So on my writing, I can be very small. Right? And, okay. And communication. If you do agile, someone said it today, I don't know who said it. When you have a success, communicate the success. Communicate to the group where you are. One of the main carriers of agile is transparency. So, to give you an idea, and I can, if we have time, show later on the picture of the room in Bucharest in Romania, where we are doing the transformation of a large retailer. We have 800 people over there. We're transforming them into agile. And we have our agile working space. And we have, like I said yesterday, visualized all the information of the progress of the transformation on boards, on the wall. And it's a room, it's like, I think, 8 by 15 meters, something like this. And next to this room, there's the desk of the general manager. And we don't have a door. There's an open corridor. So when we have a problem in our transformation, I know you're a Scrum Master, right? So I have Scrum coaches and team coaches in there. And we're talking impediments in the transformation. I have nothing to hide. Step number 1 is transparency. Now, why would transparency be a problem? And coach whatever I like, but the people, the ground floor, will follow them and do all behavior as well. Role modeling yourself, also from the manager. To give you an example, one of the transformations we're in at the moment, I noticed that what they have is a lot of, I call them backroom talks. So I have something that I don't like. And then, they're over there working. So when I take you in the corridor at the coffee machine or in a small room, and then you go to something else, and I call it going viral. It's like the grapevine. Before you know it, it's like an infection. So then I got from someone from the client who is connected to my team as from the client side, the transformation manager. And she said to me, Arie, I want to talk with you about one of your coaches. Mr. O is not perceived very well by his team because he's coaching on a team. And I know that Mr. O is not very well perceived because Mr. O is reflecting on them, and it's very confronting because he's confronting them with their own behavior, which is not so nice, right? And then I said to her, I said, okay, Miss R, what I want from you is when people come to you to complain about my people, I want you to redirect them. We have every morning a stand-up. And if the quality of Mr. O is a problem, that's an impediment, and we bring it forth in the stand-up. And then we take it on as a team. Yesterday I said the success of Agile comes with the quality and the discipline that you apply when you use Agile techniques. Dailies are there to identify, I have a process going on. And the transformation process, if it has an impediment, we take it on as a team. Not as individuals in the grapevine, in the trenches of an organization. So, coming back to your question earlier this morning, when you go into transformation, you have to understand that support from the management is extremely important. And this management team is a management team of 29 people. There's 2 people at the top, 2 guys, and they are extremely, German and Romanian, extremely agile. They want it, they do it, they go for it. Then we have the level of management below, that's 27 people. They are very used to work in an old and traditional way. They are open to agile, but they have no clue how. So this is why they come still to me with, I want to talk about Mr. O, and I want to talk about this, and someone said like this. I said, I don't work with someone said. I'm only working on changing transformation requirements in the heartbeat. So you can gather the information in between sessions, first session, put it forward. So bring it into the discipline, okay? Now this is for us the overall process of a transformation. And it needs some extra information. First of all, we prepare the transformation. How do I do this transformation process? And I just start coaching. Because I don't know what's there to coach. I don't know what you want to achieve. And when you have teams working, maybe I have to change the way I coach if I go from shorter product life cycles or to, let's say, more stable products. It depends on where you are, right? So I need to know where you are. I need to do some preparation. No, it's not bureaucracy. No, it doesn't take a lot of time. A couple of weeks, 2 weeks, 4 weeks. I like to take 4 weeks because then I have some time in between that I can talk and I can create acceptance for what we do. Then we have trains. We call them the change trains. I talk about this a little later, but we have a 3-month, 13-week cycle. So after the preparation, we know what we have to do. You asked about, okay, what to do in a transformation. So we have our transformation stories. So that's basically what you do in a transformation. And I explain this later in detail. Then we go to the 13-week process. I have coaches with me. My coaches can handle, depending on the complexity, 1 to 3 teams. Per team, no more than 10 people, so they can handle in the coaching 10 to 30 people. And if I have 10 coaches with me, I can change 300 people in 3 months. Okay. The only thing is here, I go through, and I'll talk about this a little later. At the end, you have to find a way to sustain. It has to be sustainable, your change. And we are changing human behavior. And a change in human behavior is not there in 3 months. It takes time. Talking about pitfalls, the pitfall is always that when people are getting into a situation that they are not able to handle, which is complex, their answer will be writing a document, asking for signatures, telling that someone did it well. We don't do documents like this. We have documentation on the wall, we do have some documents, but when we have problems, we don't get into silos, we put them on the table, coming back to the transparency. So this is what we're looking at. Okay, the preparation. First, on the left top you see software factory visits. We have, like I said yesterday, you have a question?
Yeah, I want to just ask a little question because as we look at Agile, transfer from Agile to for Agile, especially in this set of Africa, how can one transform his boss, like making a boss, and he's my boss, and he's not Agile, and he's only in case of he's also corrupt, not transparent.
Oh, corrupt.
Yeah, and yes, and how do you act,
In every organization so far, you see that on the bottom level, and as a Scrum coach, on the bottom level, there are teams saying, I've been involved, and I want to work with my team agile. So you talk in your team meeting, and the team starts working bit by bit a little agile. And then the manager gets, because people need to be motivated, and when the team is working better, then the manager is motivated, right? So when you have this situation, then you get all those little dots in the organization that start working agile. I always call it Agile 1.0. The next step is that, and that's what you see as a trend in, especially I think in Europe at the moment, and I think also in the US, is where organizations say, okay, now we need to go as an organization, we need to go agile. This trend, going to Agile 2.0 in an organization, is supported by the fact that in Europe we have now a generation of managers coming up, let's say from 35 and a little older, that have been in their career so far to agile trainings, agile projects, agile, they have Scrum trainings, maybe lean, certifications, that kind of stuff. So they see the value. Agile is not the solution for corruption, unfortunately. No, I wish it was, but it doesn't help you really.
You're saying that Agile is, that's been very helpful. Somebody who, it took me some time to gather this information. It took me some time to build an expertise to do so. this, and that's what I was wondering, how are we moving from that kind of traditional, and then in every environment,
Yeah, these are the environments you have all over the world, the moment that they are old and institutionalized, right? And one of the big risks for any organization is isolation of knowledge. When I have specific knowledge in one person, that's a risk. One of the things that we do in Agile is that we make team objectives. So I start working on team objectives. I have worked in the late 90s already in an organization where we had self-supporting teams, self-organizing teams, managing their own stuff, including their own salaries and anything. Right? So you have to move to the step. Individual bonuses are killing for any kind of work because I'm focusing on my bonus or on my funding, whatever, how I get it. I'm focusing on my individual benefit. And this is very often just short time. And people need to understand that when I work with a team on the team objectives and we perform well, it's better for all of us. Okay, now in this way, getting there from what we do is we demonstrate people somewhere in this preparation process in our factory how it works. And we let them talk with our people so they can ask any question they like. We are transparent. And then the first step is that they can see how it can work. Not that it has to work in this specific way, but how it can work. This is the first step of getting, because we have managers visiting the factory, that they can identify, okay, there are different ways of, let's say, managing my teams. It's not from a book, it's from, the practice, how it works. Second is that we give them some basics. We have a talk, a couple of hours, half a day maybe, on Agile and why we think you need to do Agile and so on. And then in the organization, also coming to your question about, okay, what the management, also your question, what about the management? There is coming an awareness, okay, we need to change. The companies that I am involved with in their transformation, they call me and they say, we need to change. This client in Bucharest is saying, if we don't do this, within a couple of years, we're gone. We need to be agile. First of all, because we want to have a very swift and shorter timeline in response to the market. Second of all, I want to attract good young people from the university, and I need to upgrade my image because I have a very poor image as an organization. Right? So the awareness for change is growing, like in the game from Bart. And the next step is, we have the management in there. If you want, you can do Agile in the teams, no problem, as long as you can do things in your team. But if you want to do a transformation, management needs to be included. Management needs to be supported from the top to the bottom. And this organization in Romania, I identified so far 7 different layers before I'm at the top management. So people in the workforce, and then the 7th up, that's the top management. All those layers in between. And in our factory we have 2 layers, people who do the work and the team leads. And they work with the teams anyway. So, you have a question?
Sorry, we can't hear you.
The all three estimates today talking about emphasis on those
Large organizations?
Now, you must touch on SMEs, small companies.
The basic answer is very simple. Exactly the same. Just small scale. So we are also transforming teams of 15 people into working agile. There are 2 things. It's a more easy process because you're connected to everyone that you need to change. And in Romania we have 800 people and we're not in contact with all the 800 at the same time. And second one, we have the management very strongly involved, right? But basically you do the same. Let me finish the talk on the process here. Let's see if I get this right. Yes. Okay, now what we do is we do an assessment. So small team, big organization, the only means assessment is longer, takes more time. But if I do your team of 10 people, the assessment might take me 1 or 2 days. When I do 800 people, it takes me 15 or 20 days to do an assessment and create the fundament for change. I made a copy into this slide of one of the 6 organizational competencies that we look at. And as you can see here, we look out at is the culture supporting the agile way of working? How is the management style? So coming to your question of corruption, when I have corruption in the organization, this is a problem, because corruption is focusing on individual benefits, not on team benefits, not on organizational benefits. What I do in this assessment, I just observe. I just make notes. I don't judge. I just observe. So I can see what's happening. I can see corruption. I can see backroom talks, grapevines. I can see maybe in one or two of the teams great agile rituals. They do their dailies, they do their heartbeats, and so on. So I have all sorts of observations, right? That is just looking at the situation as it is. Non-judgmental, because why do I do this? I want to know where I am. Because if I know where I am and I know where to go, I can have an initial path to go. Right? And if I don't know where I am, or don't know where to go to, I can spend a lot of time and energy, but most likely I will not be successful. Okay. Now, what's for us very important is that when you go into the work, you need to set foundations. So what we do is the moment that we have done the assessment, we gather all the information. And then I sit down with my client, okay, I've seen your organization, now tell me, what do you want to achieve with working agile? And with my client says to me here in Romania, I want to have a short time of time. It takes now 6 months, most likely 12 months before I can have severe changes putting into production. And it needs to be 2 months or less if I want to be responsive to the market. So his objective with working agile is making sure that I have a shorter time to market. Cool. So I know. If I can take this into account, knowing where I am, because I did my agile scan, then because I know where I am, knowing where I want to go, I can identify what I want to do. And then I go back to your question about, okay, so, what do you do in a transformation? I can identify that, for example, the developers are not used to work as a team. So I train the developers in extreme programming practices. They will be trained in. And then when you read the chapter, you sit down and you have a lunch talk about this chapter. And the next 2 weeks, second chapter. By the end of 2 months or 3 months, everyone has read the book, share the experience, share the thoughts. Team knowledge is gone up instantly, right? So you do things, this kind of things that you identify. So implementing reading groups is one of the transformation stories that we put in. So it's training, it's individual coaching, it's team coaching, it's also, we have existing in the human resource management model in the organization, existing roles and responsibilities. And the agile roles are different. So we also include a transformation program to have people, they might be now developer or architect or project manager or whatever, and they get paid accordingly, and we're moving them into agile roles. It's an official process sometimes. When you do this in England or in the Netherlands, and it's really a change in the organization, you need to work together with the union on this. Right? Okay, now the trains, there's a whole lot of stuff, all kinds of learning. You can get my presentation if you like, but I want to show you this one. The layout of a transformation train. And it's just an example, and I hope you take a picture so that you can't read the details because it's from a client, right? But let me tell you what happened here. And we work agile. So what we have done, we have sat down now for 2 weeks or 4 weeks with the client, say, okay, client, what do you want to achieve? The client says, okay, this is what I want to be able to deliver within 2 months. Cool. That's what we're going to work on. And then we agreed on how are we going to do this? How many coaches are going to be there? And on the same time, so we have a working agreement. At the same time, I work on the transformation stories, which is transformation requirements. That's my business agreement. And I also, okay, what kind of agile are you going to use? Because, for example, in my organization, in the factory, we have Scrum, DSDM, SAFe, Extreme Programming, Lean, Kanban, all used. Yeah, all used. Now what we do here, the process. So here we are, the arrow here. This is working in foundations. So this is the foundations moment.
And then after foundations, we go into the initiating process. And the most important one is because very often we work on Agile 2.0 in an organization, and there are all sorts of Agile initiatives somewhere in the organization. And they have different visions, versions, and language. And you want to share the same language. Because if I talk about it daily, I want you to understand what I mean. Right? We need to get to the same language. And also we need to adapt and refine it. Once we have done this, very often this is 2 times, 2 weeks, so we have 2 sprints here, where we do the we call it synchronization, which basically is training. And then the next one is that we, over here, you know, remember when I talked about the little football guys I trained, 1 and sprint 2 in the transformation. And people, what we do during the first 2 sprints is that we synchronize the Agile language, and per team, because we train them per team, they work on their foundations. So those are all transformation requirements, you know, team foundations and team backlog, and that's all we make in there. Then we go into the second phase over here, and this is what we call the caring. And now I am the trainer of a group of little boys, and I'm not disrespectful, but I talk to people and they don't know how. So we role model behavior. So we do the stand-up, like you do, you know, your Scrum Master. We do the stand-up with them. We do the heartbeats with them. We help them to do pair programming. We help them to do, well, to work with, you know, automated testing and continuous tools for continuous build and continuous integration. We help them, right? When we do this for 2 times 2 weeks over here, yeah, should be somewhere. No, battery's almost gone. But we do it like here. You can also see, for example, here we have, in this sprint, we need the visuals to be in place. So we don't go into the first day with all those visuals on the wall. No. First synchronizing the language, creating team foundations, and then in the second part of the cycle, we start, for example, working on, you know, getting real good rituals, getting real good visuals. So we have coaches that are trained to make visuals, not just post-its. They have brilliant visuals. And it, you know, they feel like little children because they make all those drawings, but they help in the team space. Right? And then we are already, you know, 4 sprints, so this is 2 months, 8 weeks down the road. And then in the supporting phase, right top, this is the moment that really people take it on and start doing it themselves. And we are not intervening. If they do a daily or if they do a heartbeat, we sit down in the back of the room, we make observations, and we give the people, the team, feedback. So we give individual people one-on-one feedback, but also we give the team feedback as a group. In their performance, the way they do it. Feedback doesn't mean I'm going to tell you what you did wrong. Feedback is okay, I'm going to help you. We have in the feedback, we have 3 colors. We like the color design. And green is that we tell you, okay, this was very good. Keep on doing this. Very often we forget how we got success, right? Because it was going well, we forget. Success has to be identified. Also, how we get success. So that's the green. Very good. And then we have the blue. It's good that it's here, but it needs to improve. We can improve it. We can refine it. So green is okay. Blue is, it's there, but we have to work on it. Red means negative evidence. So when you talk about traditional organizations, here you bump into a lot of red. Because people are used to work in silos, people are used to working with documents and used to work with emails, not communicating, all those meetings. You know, we have to bring them into the discipline. So where we are at the moment, they have this way of, you know, emailing up and down. And we have to bring, we're pushing them as a coach all the time. Now, we're in the left top corner, so we're pushing them in the role model all the time into the rituals and the discipline, how to do them. In the third part of the cycle, we sit down and give them feedback afterwards. Now we do it up front if we see it go wrong. And the last one is the sustaining part. And sustaining means, okay, the handover. How can we make it successful? In the sustaining part, I want to show you this. We have an agile transformation. That's the umbrella of the work. You don't believe that's a transformation. We are going to implement all sorts of stuff. We're going to implement new when you talk about management, new styles of leadership, new styles of governance. We do large projects, 20, 30 million, whatever, or bigger even. We're now working on a 50 million project on the proposal. We do this agile. But when you do this, big like this, I have to agree, with my client on how to do this. So there's governance in there. I have to implement that way of governance in the client organization as well. And then it's okay, we have basically, of course, the training and the coaching, and we have the agile communities. We are working in multidiscipline teams. We have not just one job. We're not just the architect or just the developer. We do a lot of stuff in here. But we also have our expertise. And we, as an organization, need your very specific expertise on, let's say, or your very specific expertise on visualization, or your, whatever. And we call them, I think Spotify calls them tribes, and we call it the guilds. It's a medieval way, where you had the craftsmanship bundled together in the guilds, where people would exchange information, exploit the network. The way we do this, we have the reading groups and we have the teams with retrospectives. The team is every 2 weeks checking itself, okay, so how are we doing, can we improve? Every month, every guild will have a meeting. And they exchange information. So this is the guild of architects, and you're in team 1 and I'm in team 2, you're in team 3, and we exchange information out and we look for how we can improve, and I learn from you, you learn from me. We do this every month, or more often if you like, but at least every month. Every 3 months we have a big gathering. This is where we as architect group will host a session where all the agile project managers can come to, but also the agile developers and the management. And maybe the management will have a session on their own, so we can go to theirs. So when you come into my company, every 3 months we have a gathering of about 400 or 500 people, going to sessions and so on. So we have the reading groups, we have the guild meetings, and then every 3 months we call it the knowledge sharing meeting. And then you make it sustainable. Does it cost a lot of time? No. Does it cost a lot of effort? No. One thing, you have to make it attractive for people, otherwise they will have an excuse not to come, right? So going into a transformation means that you focus on individuals and feedback, but also you focus on the teams. Getting the organization into the discipline means focusing on the management. Getting there. No, I cannot go from the program of corruption. That's an issue. And it's an issue in Central Europe as well. So it's not a silver bullet. So it takes work. And once you are there, and once we leave the organization, we hope that by institutionalizing those guilds in the knowledge sharing process, that we can maintain the process in an agile, that the organization is able to maintain it in this way. Okay, now I ask you to manage your own learning. So there are two options. Either I have been extremely clear and you all understand everything, which I doubt, or there might be some questions for your specific situation. Questions?
What I wrote down was how to change people's mindsets. Mostly because people are afraid of change.
Yeah.
So that's what I.
Okay.
Okay, we know that it's management that needs to change so that it filters down to everybody else. We've accepted that. But then in trying to implement that change, a lot of people who are comfortable don't want to change because they're afraid. So how do you go about doing that?
Okay, the change of individuals has to be, you can facilitate this by creating a safe environment. So you have to take out, this punishment in the management style. So that's one. But it's even worse. You have to understand that, in here we have the little reptile brain that's there for 650 million years, and it tells you, you're alive. Don't move, because if you move, you might get killed. It's a very basic instinct every human being has. So you have to create a safe environment for people to work. Now, the big thing with Agile is we work in 2-week sprints. So it's very short cycle. So I always ask my people, my clients' people, if they have an issue, and you can identify, the pioneers, and you can identify the historians, right? The moment that I identify those, one of the things that really help is good coaching, because the coach will, where was it? Oh, it's slow. Here, on the top left corner, The coach will demonstrate, and bit by bit they start doing it. It's not something that you do from a training. So you have to create a situation where people are allowed to fall, and if they fall, you are there to catch them. That's the most important one. And role modeling, demonstrating as a coach, together with the management, takes away the fear. So the traditional project managers in the company I was talking about, they think it's very difficult. They used to writing documents. And their management, the top two, they changed reporting within the transformation process instantly. Because they said, okay, I need to be informed, and this is how I want to be informed. So they took away the fear. Taking away the fear is most important.
Okay, but what if falling costs the company money? If everybody is allowed to fall, and every time you fall, you're costing the company money, how do you, it's like you're going to fall, but I'll catch you, and it's okay. I've lost a little money, but all right, you just do it again. And then they fall again, and the company is still losing money. What happens?
First of all, it doesn't cost you so much money, because we used to work in the large projects. They are very expensive, cost a lot of money, deliver hardly anything good. Now we're going to work in very short cycle. And the moment that you make a little mistake here, we fail fast, we know instantly, because with you 24 hours a day, we know. So we have, first of all, a long-term benefit. We want to be able to deliver within 2 months, right? That's the first one. And the second one is we have very short cycles in which we learn. And the third one is we, who have done it successfully, are with you. One of the things on the team level, and you do this on every level, is that we have coaches that join the people in the work. We don't coach you from here. So like now we tell you what to do. But I sit down with you and I pair program with you, or I sit down with the manager and I talk with the manager on, okay, this is how we do the reporting, and say, yeah, this is how do we do this, because this is our way, and I say, okay, all this information, why do you want it, why do you have it, what do you, and then we make the talk and we see where we end up. Being there as a coach is very important. It's not so costly because you repair so fast. In traditional projects, we make here a mistake. We use the mistake all the way down, and then we identify here, and you have this amount of rework, to repair. And over here, it's like this, tiny little bits. It's the change process itself that helps you.
I'm deciding to transform my business or the organization to being agile. Or what are the tools to measure the significant improvements in being agile?
Okay. The question is, how can I see that I've been successful in my change? That's your question, right? Okay, there are a number of ways, but it's like any other thing. Up front, you identify a certain level of indicators that help you. To give you an example of what we did, we had a list of requirements, and we asked at the client side, okay, how much time does it cost to deliver this? And they estimated time, and then we did 2 sprints, and it turned out that working agile doubled the productivity. So within 4 weeks, they knew. So productivity is one. What's very important is, but it's depending on what you want to achieve as an organization. So this organization I'm talking about at the moment, they say shorter time to market. The other one is less incidents, so more stable software. So we just can count incidents. Are they going down? One of the operations team said, we have every single day at the end of the day still 50 open tickets. And we flood. What can we do? We help them. Now at the end of the day they have 5 open tickets on the average. They feel relaxed when they go home. So you can have numbers, very statistic information but you have to identify what you want to measure first, because what you are going to measure has to support the company objective in the agile transformation.
I'd like you all to give Arie a round of applause.